Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I'm Pranjal Sharma. Joining me today for a conversation is Pramod Bhasin, who is the founder of Genpact and now the chairman of Clix Capital. Pramod, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure, Pranjal.
Pramod, you're becoming a serial founder of sorts. So, you blazed a trail with GE, then Genpact, and now Clix Capital. A little bit about what is driving you to do constantly new things.
I think we're in a very fortunate place in India, actually, Pranjal, despite so much of the gloom and doom that goes around our country. We're a unique emerging economy with very high growth rates, and I think there's a chance to create something new here all the time. Clix Capital actually is, the legacy from GE Capital entities, which I set up when I first came to India. And I came here a long time ago as an expat from the US in 1994-95. So these are the same entities I set up at that time. So it's full circle. My interest really is that I think in a country like India, there's so much demand and there's so much unmet need in a whole range of areas that's why I think this is such an exciting place to be. And I think also, hopefully, I know something about this industry and about this business.
And I get the sense just when you start thinking of retiring, there's a new idea which grips you and then you are back to square one, right?
Retirement, I realized, is not something that works for me. I didn't try it for long, maybe a couple of weeks, and it was very clear that this was not going to be the way. I think it's very hard to have done so and worked at a fifth gear for so many years and then sort of switch off. Plus, I think we have experience. If you have energy, you should do something with it. And I think India is a great place. I can't think of a better place to be.
And I think that's the fascinating piece, that there is a constant stream of new opportunities coming up and, you really can't but get enthused by it. Tell me about Clix Capital. What is the concept? You've acquired some elements of GE's financial operations. So what exactly is Clix Capital all about?
Sure. We've acquired jointly with Aon, which is a joint venture with Apollo and ICICI, the GE Capital entities that used to exist. GE Capital, which used to do commercial finance, GE Money, which used to do consumer finance. Over the years, GE Capital shrank its portfolio as it basically got out of the business. And as you may know, GE Capital sold out all its businesses worldwide. As part of that, sometimes timing is everything, right? It happened with Genpact that way. And so I was sitting around and with a colleague, Anil Chawla, who worked for me at Commercial Finance for many, many years. We're great friends, great partners. And we knew GE Capital was up for sale. So we thought, here's a platform we can buy. It has a core management team which is currently in place. We need to enhance it. It has a core set of products. It has a brand. We thought if we can do the acquisition at a decent price, it's a huge leg up and it's a huge way. Apart from that, I would say I have always thought that the NBFC opportunity in India has been underwhelmed. Even today, if you look around and say how many great NBFCs are there, everybody names the same 2 or 3 people. Bajaj stands out there, a few others stand out there. Bajaj, I'm very happy to say, has a bunch of ex-GE Capital Countrywide people who were doing that with Countrywide and have done it so successfully.
You created many leaders.
Well, we were very lucky. We had great timing. We had the GE legacy of creating leaders and management teams which were exceptionally good. I've been privileged to be part of that. It's been a joy. But the financial services area in India, by any measure, is underwhelmed in terms of inclusion, access to finance for small to medium scale enterprises, for consumers, the speed of service, the red tapeism that goes with it. So I've always thought it's ripe. I don't know, I know it's hard to do business in India by global rankings. But equally the opportunity is reflective.
So what is the opportunity that you have identified for Clix Capital?
We'll basically do 3 things, or 4 things I would say. One is commercial lending, which we'll be doing to major corporates, which we'll continue to do as we do. We do want to do a lot around the SME space. So I would classify that in two sets. One is equipment financing. There's a lot of equipment financing opportunities around the world which really haven't happened in India yet. What do I mean by that? Why should a company spend its own money to acquire a fleet of cars for its employees? Why would you spend precious equity capital? If you're owned by private equity or you're public shareholding or you need to show returns on equity, that is the least productive way to use your equity. Why wouldn't you do residual value leasing on forklift trucks and construction equipment and warehousing equipment, etc.? This is hard stuff, by the way. Bread and butter, bricks and mortar stuff, roll up your sleeves, do it. But I can back it with fantastic analytics today and fantastic technology.
So so this sector, the SME sector, much
Yes.
talked about, but really never addressed their core concerns are difficult to address because there are
Yes.
so many.
Yes.
The base is diversified, different sectors. Therefore, the cost of serving them for any one entity is very high.
Absolutely.
And therefore the margins are thin.
Right.
And therefore it is not seen as an attractive sector to offer services to. What do you find attractive?
Yeah, I think you've said all the pieces as to why it wasn't attractive earlier, which is the cost of servicing and distribution is too expensive. That game has changed fundamentally in India. This whole thing around financial inclusion, firstly, access to broadband, mobility, Aadhaar, all of that is changing the dynamics of this world so fast that I think it's making our head spin, right? Tomorrow I can reach out, once I've set up a base with these customers, I can start transacting with them on a daily, live basis without having to go back and forth with documentation, etc., and doing all of the other things. I can do it like that. I can also reach out to them and deliver them speed of service. Today, on average, for an SME, it takes them 60 to 90 days to get a new loan. I want to do it in 2 days. Critical along with that, Pranjal, was a large part of this sector is not in the organized sector. A large part of them work on cash. That doesn't mean they don't have assets, nor does it mean that they're not creditworthy. In the past, there's no way they could show you that. Today, through advanced analytics, and I call it smart analytics, and that's really the phrase I'm going to go with, is smart analytics all around this area will help me understand, someone's been in business 20 years, they've had great customers, they've had a legacy of being well managed, they make a lot of money.
You said smart analytics and then the promise of giving loans to SMEs within 2 days. This also often means that you prepare for 2 months, but actually the loan is only given in 2 days, which
Yes.
is sometimes a misnomer.
Absolutely.
So when you say that you'll use technology to reduce the time cycle for loan dispersal, and how exactly will that work? In a case study example, if you can explain.
Yes, sure. And by the way, this will apply not just to SMEs, but also to consumers, where the time to yes, as we call it, may have to be 30 minutes, or 2 minutes at a point of sale. But I think the framework that we're going to use, and many people are experimenting with this. So one, we're talking to companies all around the world. Technology companies that have experimented with new sets of algorithms that are using social media data. There's a lot of discussion around this. But the fact is, interestingly today, Pranjal, everybody talks about fintech. But there's either financial fin companies or tech companies. The both haven't met yet in any...
Twain haven't met.
They haven't come together in a meaningful manner. There are not that many people out there who have been able to build up the portfolio. In financial services, lending is the easy part, right? Getting your money back is the tough part. So I think you can do a lot of things with small companies. You can understand the industry they work in. You understand the industry belt they work in. If you take an example.
So if I were a small manufacturer of maybe bottle caps or maybe some little steel component, what would you offer to me?
I would offer a whole gamut of loans. I could offer you a loan, a working capital loan, a term loan to buy new assets, an expansion loan if you want to put up a new factory. I can offer you equipment leasing so that
But don't I have those options already? What will it be better if I come to you?
Speed and convenience, fundamentally.
But not the rate of lending.
No. Am I going to be cheaper than a bank? No, I don't think so. But I don't think a price is the only factor that matters to anybody.
It's about time and flexibility.
And certainty. You know, what somebody wants to know is, will you give me the money quickly because I've got an opportunity here, or the season has gone well, I need to expand. Will you give me the money, please? And I want to know that with certainty. I don't want to struggle with you for 2 or 3 months, fill in a lot of forms, go through a lot of due diligence. 2, what I will offer on top of this is, many of them are in the unorganized sector. My ability to use analytics to underwrite what your real net worth is will differentiate me.
But Pramod, this is an area where, different, depending on how you describe SMEs,
Yes.
it could be 300,000 to 500,000 units
Yes.
Across the country, or even more.
Yes.
Many are not even registered, and perhaps now, many will come into the tax net, so there is a better visibility
Exactly.
of those.
Exactly.
How would a startup like yours,
Yes.
despite your experience and the excellent backing of global companies,
Sure.
how do you plan to even manage volumes of this size?
I think we would love the volumes of that size, right? We know how to build companies at scale. We know how to we've done it in the past many times. So that's one of the reasons why I'm back in business, right? Because I think there are 300,000 to 500,000 companies out there. Reaching them is much easier now, Pranjal. Broadband has allowed us enormous activity. Mobility will allow us enormous activity. It's a long ways to go, by the way, before someone takes working capital loans off a mobile phone, right? But I think I can interface into their systems now. Tally, for instance, the accounting system is being used by people everywhere. We need to figure out how to integrate into those kinds of systems. My ability to understand the net worth of a person is a very important element in this, because a lot of this is done, unfortunately, today in the cashless, unorganized society, in the cash-full, unorganized society. But within that, I need to understand, how do they spend, how much money are they spending on inventory, what does their cycle look like, when might they get into trouble, how long have they been in business.
Will there be an element of educating the market in terms of using fintech for the real financial services and not just mobile wallets?
Yes.
And do you need to then invest in maybe capacity building or ensuring that they know how to make the most of your services? Because
Absolutely.
the market maturity is an important element in this.
Very, very. So in consumer side, the mobile wallet, etc., will take over in terms of how we disperse funds, right? We still have to lend. So you've got the payment and the mobile wallets, but they're not lenders. We still have to underwrite and lend. In the SME side, it is exactly what you said. There's a large portion of education even around leases, for instance. Today everybody wants to own all the equipment they have. But the fact is, leasing is a very viable, tax-friendly option, which gives you the option of saving your equity. But again, people need to understand that, because it's not such an accepted product in India today. 2, as we go forward into the SME world, we have to work with them to help them understand that if we can build a regular flow of transactions, if we can interface into their systems, and that's where your questions is very appropriate. How will we interface with 300,000 people in 300,000 systems? That will take time, but we're ready for the challenge. It needs arms and legs, it needs distribution, branches. Again, advanced analytics can help me. I am now hoping to use it to tell me exactly which town I need to go to, which street I need to go to, which business I need to target best to get business.
But that means you need to get a humongous amount of ground level data onto your platform,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
How do you even gather that?
Well, the amazing thing is, in India, there's a massive amount of data available, and I don't think it's being used. So
You might be one of the 5 people in the country who believe that there is good data available in India.
There isn't. I think that's right. I think there is a massive amount of data that is not used. There's migratory data on labor. There's shops and establishment. There's service tax data. There's sales tax data. There's property tax data. There's a lot of data on people, etc. And
So you're saying it's disaggregated, and your task would be to put it together to get some pattern out of it.
Exactly right. And I'm building up a very large analytics team right now. The first hire we made when we came in and acquired the company was the analytics
So
leader.
this is the real good use of what is also known as big data and smart data, as you're talking about.
Smart analytics, we'll use it to target customers. We want to use it to underwrite really well, to really understand habits of people. If you go into one of the informal sectors and if you ask them what your net worth is, their answers across the family, by the way, and microfinance has figured this out, is very different. So the wife says my net worth is this, the husband says it's this, the daughter, mother, etc. When you pool their assets is when you find out that actually their net worth is quite substantial. So you've got to pull that together in that manner.
Like make sense out of that.
You've got to, as exactly what you said, it's fragmented. You start pulling this data together from many, there are industry associations which will give you data. You know, there are informal ways in which you will get data just by walking down and observing and doing an audit of how many people walk into how many shops. What is happening at point of sale? What is happening in terms of, you know, I'm not sure how long we can do this, but what's happening on your mobile phone where all your financial transactions are now being reported.
Pramod, you've been talking about using technology to reach out to 300,000 SME business owners, offering them financial services, loans, and monetizing it and monitoring it in a way which is efficient for and flexible for everybody. But you're also, again, starting a new journey as an entrepreneur. Yes. Tell me a little bit about how you see the landscape in India as an entrepreneur from the times when you started Genpact many years ago. How has it changed? Or has it changed at all?
No, it's changed dramatically, not always for the better. I think the aspects around infrastructure are still very poor. You know, our traffic is terrible, all of the other issues, quality of life, etc., really hurts from time to time. But we've leapfrogged enormously. I think we as sometimes, and you know, I call myself one of the key people as the founders of Gurgaon, right? We came here first. Look at Gurgaon, 20 years. It is transformed. Show me another city in the world. Two, as an entrepreneur, I ask people very simple, would you like to be an entrepreneur in India or in an economy which is growing at 1%? Decide.
So that's a loaded question.
Yes, it is. But the fact is, you know, the exact lack of infrastructure in others also creates the opportunity. In the past, this lack of infrastructure has meant a lot of people are underbanked, which is why I'm trying to say there is a gap that we can fill. It's not easy to do business in India still. I don't think those messages are percolating down. The government desperately needs to re-engineer its processes. I've been saying that not because I'm biased about re-engineering, because that's what we did as Genpact, but we really need to sort that out because there's an enormous amount of hold up there. Having said all of that, you get great talent in India. The best talent in the world is available right here. I don't think companies invest enough in training and development. We've done that in the past. We've built great leaders. We want to do that again.
And you're investing and helping on skills side as well.
I've got a skills business also separately. But you know, management development and talent development will be a huge part of what we do at Clix. It's a fundamental DNA that we will build into our teams, right?
But one of the pieces in India which has changed is this focus on digital India. It has moved from just talk to, I think, some level of activity on the ground where government departments at national, state and, you know, sub-regional levels at least are aware of the importance of it. And the Make in India campaign is making the government system aware of the benefits of supporting business and removing the trust deficit.
Yes.
How much of that journey has been covered?
I think we're just at the start of that journey, but I think we've made a hell of a lot more progress than I think we know, and we're going to see the impact happen fairly quickly. There is a period of time in all these developments when it's quite quiet, and everybody thinks not a lot is happening. And then suddenly we will get transformed. And I think it happened with telecom, it happened with Aadhaar, it's happened with mobility right now.
And this demonetization could be the next landmark.
It's a huge impact because I think it's going to bring a lot of people from the unorganized into the organized sector because of the use of technology to be able to do transactions. And I think things like that will make a profound difference.
From that point of view, Clix is again a great timing because when businesses and individuals reduce their dependence on cash for transactions, this could help in efficiency. Is there a resistance to a cashless economy? And if so, how can that be overcome apart from the efforts on demonetization?
Yes, there is a huge resistance. I'll tell you why. One is because many business models don't work if it's in a formal economy. If you have to pay service taxes and income tax and all of that, that business model falls apart, right? So I think that resistance will continue. There's many issues in supply chains because many people just won't take cash, and the entire supply chain works on it.
But between GST and demonetization, the landscape changes. And would it make it easier for Clix to operate and help businesses on these two platforms?
I hope the landscape changes. I am not sure if how much it will change. I think we're all waiting to watch. It's very confusing. It's very complex. Certainly, it will help us in many ways because many more people willy-nilly are going to come into the organized sector. By the way, we are going to do a huge amount of business on the consumer side, and many people on the consumer side, by use of digital wallets, etc., will come into, I wouldn't say the organized sector, but certainly the digital world, which will make our life much easier. And I think it will make it easier for all banks and financial services. Supply chains will change. The ease with which people buy and sell and transact with each other will be radically different as we go forward. I think these are areas where India has made enormous progress. And I think the world sometimes from the outside sees it a hell of a lot better than we do it from the inside. So when I go outside, everybody's trying to wait and watch as to demonetization, what the impact is, and I don't think we know. But when I go outside, the excitement around India is palpable.
But it is true, Pramod, if you look at it as you step back and take a look from outside, when was the last time that more than 1 billion people were asked to adopt a uniform tax and then go cashless at the same time?
Absolutely. When was the last time a digital thumbprint was put for 1 billion people, like the Aadhaar card? When were 200 million accounts opened? When did we get to 800 million or 1 billion mobile connections, and out of which 200 million are smartphones? I mean, these are massive developments in a country, and it's a little bit of a, we're sitting in the middle of it, so we're sort of watching it bubble. And
when does it manifest itself? You said very well that, it sounds confusing, but at some point, suddenly everything will fall into place.
Yeah.
Given your experience of more than 3 decades, when do you think it suddenly will happen?
I think, unfortunately, we need a whole bunch of other things happening also. That's the truth. The legal system, which I think is one of the biggest holdbacks we have in India, must change dramatically because today, it's the guilty shelter under the legal system.
10 years from hence, Clix Capital, where will it be?
Oh, I'm not sure we'll be the largest. I'd certainly love to think we are the best brand in the country in financial services because we're known for innovation and speed and creativity. That's really what I want us to be known for. We want to go beyond financial services and lending. We want to go into helping people manage inventories at the SME level, helping consumers save for retirement, helping sell insurance to people. We want to do a pretty much full gamut, but in a very, very new, undefined, creative way with great innovation at every level in our products. Because I think banking is terribly old-fashioned and desperately needs to change.
And I think you would be leading the change once again. Thanks so much, Pramod, for being with us today.
Thank you.